What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and today I have an updated X-Saber deck profile for you guys today. With the ban list had just dropped just not even a couple weeks ago. A lot actually changed with this deck, with Fire Formation Tanky coming back up to 2, and also with Change of Heart coming back off the ban list for the first time in well over a decade. This deck is a lot more different than before. I will be posting the list on my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me there. Link will be in excuse me. The link to my Instagram will be in the description below, as will the links to my Twitter pages, which will also be in the description as well. And if you guys enjoyed this video and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, the info will be in the description as well. I did do a sort of a little bit of a makeover with the extra deck and the side. The main deck is pretty much the same, just with a couple added perks and a bit of a mix-up, if you will. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. First up, we have 3 copies of Double X-Saber Fall Troll. This is basically your Cyber Dragon for the whole deck. So what the card does is if you have 2 or more X-Sabers on board, you can just Cyber Dragon this card to your field, and it also acts as a Monster Reborn, where you can target any X-Saber monster that's in your grave, summon it, which will allow you to go into any of your 7 synchro monsters that are in to any of the 7 synchros that's in this extra deck, as well, which could be pretty much anything at that point. It all depends on what your board is, on what your board state is. There are ways that you can go into a double summon, but more on that a little later on. But you're most likely going to be you're mostly going to be using Fall Troll for its Monster Reborn effect. You're not going to be using it as single material because, for one, it's a 2400 beat stick on board, so you don't really need to use it as single material. And plus, even if you had even if you had a second Fall Troll on board, you can't summon Fall Troll off of the effects of another Fall Troll. You would literally need to have Monster Reborn or Gotham's Emergency Call to resummon the second the second Fall Troll that's in the grave. And also too, again, you're mostly using Fall Troll for its Monster Reborn effect. So every turn you can summon out your X-Sabers, go into your synchro plays, and just go off and just be off to the races there, which is absolutely insane. Next up, we have 2 copies of Double X-Saber Guard Strike. This is basically another form of Cyber Dragon. So if you have 2 or more X-Sabers in your graveyard, and there are no other monsters that you control, you basically get to special summon this card from your hand. So what you would do is you would basically have 4 monsters on board, because you would also be able to normal summon out your Double X-Saber Bogart Knight, which I'll get to him in a second. But basically trigger his effect, special summon another X-Saber from your hand, which could be an Airbellum, a Full Helm Knight, and then go into a Fall Troll, tune the Full Helm Knight or the Airbellum to the Bogart Knight, go into your level 7 plays, activate Fall Troll's effect, resummon the tuners to go into the Cypher Lord Omega, which gives you an additional interruption on board, which is insane. No, there's literally not much else to say about it. So Guard Strike basically basically acts as a Saber Dragon if you have no monsters on board at all, and you have 2 or more X-Sabers in your graveyard. So you would literally need to have X-Sabers in your grave, excuse me, in order to trigger Guard Strike's effect. And then of course we got the 3 Bogard Knight. This card basically acts as your double summon, so to speak. So its effect reads, when this card is normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower X-Saber from your hand. Cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of an X-Saber Synchro. So yeah, so you would literally need to go into either the Urbellum or the Souza in order for you to get its full power, basically. Next up, we have 3 copies of X-Saber Airbellum. This is basically the confiscation. Of the whole deck. If you guys have never seen confiscation before, the card is just absolutely horrendous. It says pay 1,000 life points. Look at your opponent's hand. Select 1 card in it. Discard that card. Basically, you get to rip a card out of your opponent's hand and send it to the graveyard. Airbellum does the same thing, but it does it at random. So you don't really know what you're pitching. You don't know. But that's the funny part about it. You can literally be pitching anything. You could be pitching cards like Ash Balls, and cards like Monster Reborn, Called By, Feather Duster, Imperm, any of the Solemns. You could be pitching anything. Even your opponent's monsters, you could be pitching. It all depends, but it's pretty good. But you only get that effect if Airbellum deals battle damage to your opponent by a direct attack. Is it possible? No, it's literally not possible unless if they had like 1 monster on board and you didn't use Fall Troll's effect. Then you know what? Maybe it is possible, but it usually is not. Next up, we have 3 copies of Double X-Saber Full Helm Knight. I had this at 2. I decided to bring this up to 3 because of the fact that I'm running 7 synchros, and 3 of them are, and one of those 7 is gonna shock you. It's gonna shock you with how crazy the card is. It's just. It's just insane. You guys are gonna see. You guys are going to see. But Full Helm Knight's effect reads: when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can target the attacking monster, negate that attack. This effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. If this card destroys an opponent's defense position monster by battle, you can target a level 4 or lower X-Saber in your grave and special summon it. So not only does it have a built-in negate attack, but just like the Fall Troll, Full Helm Knight also has a built-in Monster Reborn, which will then help you go deeper into your synchro plays. But it can also help you go into your link plays as well, such as the Nightmare Phoenix, the Cerberus, or the Mrs. Radiant, which Mrs. Radiant in this deck is just absolutely insane. Really, really good. And plus 2, it's a tuner. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with a 3-star tuner. So many cards like Gothams or Suzo or something like that. It's just insane. Next up, we have 2 copies of Double X-Saber Emmer's Blade. This is actually a really good card. So the effect reads: when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you can special summon a level 4 or lower X-Saber from your deck. So this card will, so what's cool about this card is that you can summon the Rocky Gora, activate its effect, get out the Bogart Knight back to your hand, and then when your turn comes, if you draw out the Rhoda, you can then activate Rhoda, add the Full Helm Knight, normal summon the Bogart Knight, trigger its effect, summon Full Helm Knight, Fall Troll's effect triggers, you summon it, and you can just combo off from there. Go into your synchro plays, go into your link plays, send pass, and you're pretty much just off to the races there, which is absolutely insane. And then to round out the X-Saber monsters, we got 3 Dark Soul, which basically is a monster reincarnation. Which is basically sort of like another Rhoda of sorts. So it's as if you have one. No, it's as if you have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. It's as if you have like 7 7, 10 Rhodas in your deck, counting the 3-second call. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Being able to just combo off like that is incredible. And then again to round up the X-Saber monsters, we had 3 copies of double X-Saber Rocky Goro. I know some people might believe that this is better at 1. The thing is, I prefer to put this at 3, mainly because I need for 2 reasons. One was that because I took a few cards out and added a few cards in, I needed room for one other thing, so I decided to do the 3 Rocky Goro. And plus, not only that, it's basically a monster reincarnation with legs. So the effect reads, when this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 X-Saber monster from your grave to your hand. The funny thing about a lot of these X-Saber monsters is that a lot of these are not once per turn. Especially the Rocky Goro, it is not a once per turn, so you can just use the effect over and over and over and over again when you special summon it, which is just absolutely insane. And then, to round up the rest of the monsters, for the hand traps, we got the 2 Ash Blossom and the 2 Ghost Bell. Moving on into the spells, we got 2 copies of Polymerization. You guys are wondering why. Why am I running 2 copies of Poly? Well, if you guys remember my last X-Saber deck profile, you know that I'm running the Naturia Exterio, the Barkion, and the Beast. But what you didn't know is that there's another Naturia fusion that is just as good as the Exterio, and I will get to that in a little bit. We got the 1 Rhoda to search out any of the warriors that they may have in the deck, which are the Full Troll, the Full Helm Knight, which are basically either the Full Helm Knight or the Full Troll. Everything else I think is Beast and Beast Warrior. Yeah. Insect, yeah. Basically it's that. I may end up having to take this out. And you know what? I think I will. You know what? Fuck the Rhoda. Instead, I'm going to put the Change of Heart into the main, from the side into the main, and into the side. I'm gonna do I think I'll do a 3rd Dark Ruler, no more. Just because Dark Ruler no more is just really good. Rhoda really does nothing to the deck, because the only warriors that are in the deck are the Full Troll and the Full Helm Knight. So you're not really, there's really no point. So I am gonna be taking out the Rhoda and replacing it with the 1 Change of Heart that I originally had in the side. So the reason why I decided to replace the Change of Heart, or rather replace the Rhoda with the Change of Heart, is because if your opponent does have a monster that you can tune one of your tuners with to go into a card like, say, Beast, then Change of Heart will just help you ensure it, basically, which is just absolutely insane. There's really no other way to summon it. You basically need to have a way to summon Beast, because Beast is a 5-star. It's a 5-star, and you would need to have Full Helm Knight and one of your opponent's like 2-star monsters, or Full Helm Knight and 2 Rocky Gora to summon summon Naturia Beast. So Change of Heart, absolutely incredible. Not much else to say about it. We got the 3 Gotham Second Call. This is basically a double. This is basically a double Monster Reborn for the X-Sabers. So the effect reads if you control an X-Saber Synchro, you can target 2 X-Saber monsters in your grave, special summon both targets, ignoring their summoning conditions, but change their attack to 0. Also destroy them during the end phase of this turn. You can only activate 1 second call per turn, and you cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you activate this card. Obviously this deck is not battle phase heavy unless if you have your full board set up. But if you do, then second call might not be what you want it to be. But truth be told, in some cases, in certain scenarios, the battle phase really doesn't mean anything to you at all, unless if you know you have the advantage over your opponent, in which case then yeah, it does matter. But second call basically acts as another version of Monster Reborn, which I am running the one of in the main deck. We got the 2 Twin Twister, and then of course we got the 2 Fire Formation Tenki. Tenki is now back up at 2, which is incredible. And if you guys have never seen this card before, it's an old school card from, what was it, Cosmo Blazer, if I remember correctly, from back in like 2011, 2012, if I remember correctly. It's a long time, guys, long time, 10 years. Oofa. So the effect reads, when this card is activated, you can add 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior from your deck to your hand. All Beast Warrior monster control gain 100 attack. You can only activate 1 Fire Formation Tenki per turn. So obviously it's another form of Rhoda before the Beast Warriors, which is just absolutely insane. And then to round up the spells, we got 2 Sword of Sparkles. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking, what the fuck? Sword of Sparkles? Who the fuck came up with the name of that? I could not tell you who the hell came up with that name, but it's really good. So the effect reads, equip only to an X-Saber monster. If it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls. You can tribute 1 monster you control, return this card from your grave to the top of your deck. So this basically acts as another sort of dark destruction, or another version of like Acts of Despair or something like that, where it could go back into the deck. You really don't care about that. But what's cool about this card is that it can act as an MST or a trap hole, which is just absolutely insane. Moving on into the traps, there were only 6. So you guys know from the last deck profile that I did, which was over a year ago, I believe, I am running, as always, the 2 Gotham's Emergency Call, which basically acts as a trap version of Second Call, which is just absolutely insane. We got the 1 Solemn Strike, the 1 Solemn Warning, and 2 copies of a brand new card that I did not realize how good it was. It is known as Spiritual Earth R Kurogane. If you guys have never seen this card before, it's a really old card, and it reads, tribute 1 Earth monster and target 1 other level 4 or lower Earth monster in your grave, special summon it. It's basically Monster Reborn, it's a trap Monster Reborn. So if you have let's say for example you have the Full Helm Knight and the Rocky Gora, and you want to summon your Naturia Beast, but you don't have but you've already committed to your normal summon, and you don't have any other way to bring out another copy of Rocky Gora. You would activate Spiritual Earth Art Kurogane, tribute let's say the Bogar Knight for example, resummon the Rocky Gora, tune the 2 Rocky Goras with the Full Helm Knight, and boom, you instantly have your Naturia Beast, which is basically an Imperial Order for for the deck, so to speak, which this card's really good. It's really good. Trust me, guys, it is incredible. Moving on into the extra deck, we got the one Mrs. Radiant. This card is just a house. This card is just a fucking house. All Earth monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. Also, all Wind monsters on the field lose 400 attack and defense. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, target one Earth monster in your grave, add it to your hand. So it's basically another version of Ragigora, but in the form of a Link monster, which is absolutely insane. And plus this card can go against the Floowandereeze deck, which uses up which I believe are mostly all, yeah, some of, yes, some of the monsters, I think some of the Floowandereeze monsters are, I think they're all, I think it's 50-50. It's usually like wind and water. So not only would this card be beneficial against the Floowandereeze, but also a competitive Harpy deck as well, which is insane. We got the Nightmare package, we got the Cerberus, the Phoenix, and the Unicorn. We got the one Decode Talker as a way to interrupt your opponent's plays and just blow them out of the water. And then of course we got the one Access Code Talker. Obviously you're gonna be banishing you're gonna be banishing the Decode Talker, giving the Access Code Talker and Talker double the attack, which is absolutely insane. And then you're basically gonna be banishing the Unicorn, the Phoenix, the Cerberus, and the Radiant to just pop your opponent's board really quickly. For the Synchros, we got the Naturia Beast and the Naturia Barkion. Beast focuses on negating and destroying spells. Barkion focuses on the traps. And we also have another one that I did not know about, but it's really good. Naturia Landois. This was a card that I had talked about, I think, when I did my Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1 display box opening, which I am going to be getting more because I'm still missing one more die. It's the Berserker Crush die. Hopefully I can get it, but I am missing that one die. But if you guys have never seen Landois before, it's a 7-star Earth Rock Synchro with 2350 attack and 1600 defense, and requires an Earth Tuner and one or more non-tuner Earth monsters. So basically, this deck is perfect. So basically, this card is perfect for the deck. The effect reads, while this card is on the field, you can send one spell from your hand to the grave to negate the activation of an effect monster's effect and destroy. So basically, if you have all three of these cards on board, it's just insane. It's insane. Beast focuses on the spells. Barkion focuses on the traps. Landois focuses on the monsters, which is insane. If you're able to make all three, that right there is essentially your board. That right there is your board. That's your win con. Your opponent will have no other outs to this board, which is insane. We also have the one side Friendler Omega. The reason being is because Barkion's effect. With Barkion's effect, in order to trigger its effect, you have to banish 2 cards from your graveyard. So with a card like Friendler Omega, it basically just gives you more fodder for Barkion's effect, which is really good. For the X-Saber Synchros, I know that I did have all of the X-Saber Synchros. I know that I was running the Hyunli and the Wayne, but I ended up taking those out because they're only when they're summoned. So you would literally need to have these cards in your graveyard and bring them back to trigger their effects, because Wayne's effect says that when it's synchro summon, you can special summon a level 4 lower warrior from your hand. Hyunli basically says that you can just triple MST your opponent's back row. So instead of doing those, I ended up doing doing the access code, the Landois, and of course the one that I had mentioned, the other fusion that I mentioned, which I'll get to that here in a second. So for the X-Saber Synchros, I've got the one X-Saber Urbellum, which is basically a really bad trap dust shoot, or I guess rather a really bad back to square one. We got the one Souza, which is not too bad, but it's still a 2500 beat stick, so it can basically just so you can basically just tribute any X-Saber monster you have, and you can either pop one of your opponent's monsters at the start of the damage step, or basically make it so it can't be destroyed by traps. And then the double X-Saber Golems, which is actually a hilarious card, but so good. You can tribute one X-Saber monster to discard one random card from your opponent's hand. So it's basically another version. It's basically a much more better version of Urbellum, because all you gotta do is just tribute one X-Saber monster. That's it. And then for the fusions, you guys know that I've got the Exterio, which is basically Barkion and Beast together, or rather their effects anyway. But there's another one as well, and you guys are wondering, what is that other Naturia fusion? It is known as Naturia Gaestrio. And if you guys have never seen this card before, it's a 10-star Earth Rock fusion with 3200 attack and 2100 defense, and requires 2 Earth Synchro monsters. So you could literally use Landois and Urbellum to summon Gaestrio, and you're off to the races there. During either player's turn, and this is the effect, during either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets exactly one card of the field and no other cards, you can send one card from your hand to the grave, negate the activation, and destroy it. Basically, any card or effect, no matter what it is, it's basically one of the best negations that the Naturia series, that the archetype has, which is insane. But this card is just a house. Moving on into the side deck, we got the 2 copies of Nibiru the Primal Being. If your opponent overcommits, you drop the card and you just basically say fuck you. The card just says fuck you. That's it. That's all it does. Not much else to say about Nibiru. It's just incredible. We got the 2 Ghost Ogre to pair off with the 2 Ash and the 2 Bell. We got triple Dark Rule No More as a way to stop your opponent from comboing off during your turn. So you can basically just go off into your synchro plays, activate Poly, go into your fusion plays, go into your link plays, and you're pretty much just off to the races there. We got the one called by obviously you want your plays to go through. So call by, must have, and then of course the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster in case of the Twin Twisters don't work. Then you got the Harpy's Feather Duster. For the traps, we got the 2 Imperm, the 2 Zing Zang Hu, which you want to activate Zing Zang Hu during your opponent's end phase. So once they reach their end phase and they have set 2, you activate Zing Zang Hu, target those 2 back row, and they can't do anything at all. And then I am running the 2nd copy of the Strike and the Solemn Warning. So all in all, this deck, absolutely incredible. Probably one of the more better versions of the X-Saber deck that I've built so far. Is it possible that this deck could win a YCS or something like that? It's possible, but you never know. You never know. But that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. And if you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. As always, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and on Instagram. The links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you guys want to send me and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.